Hi, this is Ryan from Cincinnati Community News, xcannabis.com, and the socialism thing comes up a lot, especially around the Bitcoin community. Bitcoiners are typically free market anarchists, free market libertarians, free market capitalists, but socialism typically doesn't interchange with the Bitcoin community very often. I was surprised, however, to see a socialist friend of mine, Jared Alloway, posting about Bitcoin recently. I tried to get Jared Alloway into Bitcoin in 2011. I sent him, what was it, like zero point 0.2 Bitcoin. He didn't really seem interested, and I wasn't going to send him a whole bunch, but, I sent him what I could, realistically see him grasping and understanding. That same zero point 0.2 Bitcoin would be worth about $30 today. Back then, it was only worth a couple of bucks. And see, that's kind of where I'm at with this. Now, I'm not a socialist. However, to promote the idea of Bitcoin, we gave out lots of different Bitcoin to people. I adopted Bitcoin back in 2011. I started trading with Bitcoin on bitmit.net in 2011. I started mining in multiple ways on multiple different coins, and I've been a very staunch supporter of Bitcoin, I guess you would say, an early adopter and an enthusiastic supporter of Bitcoin. Back in 2008, I created my own crypto economy on xcannabis.com with what I call xcannabits, and we just basically use some WordPress plugins. I modified them, made a store, allowed people to earn points on xCannabis and then buy items out of our store that we had created on xCannabis. This was all the way back in 2008. Bitcoin didn't come out until 2009. I was kind of late to the game in my perspective on Bitcoin because I didn't adopt it until about 2011 because I was kind of busy with my own economy. But as soon as I started adopting Bitcoin, I started giving away Bitcoin in exchange for Cannapoints on xcannabis.com. We had a few very socialist, very liberal, very, big government status types. For some reason, on xcannabis.com, I can name a couple. One was Adam Han, and he won a contest, and, I just never got the prize out to him. It was just, one of those things where, I don't know, I was tired of him kind of insulting me, backhanding me on one side of things. The capitalism, the conservative side didn't like very much, and on the give me free stuff side, he was nice and friendly. But I did eventually offer him Bitcoin. I figured, what, if nothing else, if even if I'm going to get disrespected on one side and keep my promise on another side, I'll just give the guy a option to buy Bitcoin through our xCannabis store. And so, he's got a bunch of points on xCannabis, and we've offered Bitcoin at different points. And I figure if nothing else, at least it'll hopefully spark a free market economy idea in his brain. Maybe he'll have some great use for his first Bitcoin, and he'll go out and spend it and enjoy capitalism for a little while. But, and this has happened over and over with, other socialists, that I've been a part of their lives somehow. The cannabis community is funny because on one hand of things, a lot of them are saying, hey, give us our freedom, let the cannabis market be free, you can't tax medicine, you can't tax cannabis, blah, 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 blah. And then on the other side of things, they're like, hey, I want government this, and I want government that, and we want Obamacare, and we want socialism, socialism, socialism. So there's this weird conflict going on there, and it just drives me nuts. I often have to just defriend people because, at one point, on one hand of things, I'm trying to illustrate how the free market benefits poor people, and how it's usually the rich people who promote and benefit socialism the most. You look at people like Al Gore and George Soros and, all these millionaires who, or even billionaires who are promoting socialism. It's because socialism is a top-down thing. Socialism usually comes from those in authority who stand to benefit from an oligopoly, some sort of market that they're proposing, that if the government imposed sanctions or regulations in an industry, they would tend to benefit from it somehow. So, people can accuse capitalists of being greedy and hoarding things. If I wouldn't have given away as much Bitcoin as I did to try to promote the idea of Bitcoin, I would be filthy rich right now. I'm not. I just missed my mortgage payment. I'm not rich by the slightest means of the word rich. Other than I have a great family. My wife loves me. I've got wonderful kids. I'm wealthy in that respect, but monetarily, I've given away most of what I could have, benefited from it, especially with Bitcoin. We also gave away free shirts and, spent a lot of money on promoting freedom in the cannabis community back in 2009, 2010, and 2011. Long before Jared Alloway started giving away his marijuana is safer shirts, we were giving away all kinds of different shirts, freedom-oriented shirts, Insensible Washington shirts, and all kinds of different shirts to kind of promote freedom. And, we didn't buy the shirts used. We gave people nice, clean, brand new shirts, and we professionally screen printed them. But we haven't hoarded. We haven't been greedy. People can, complain about how capitalists are greedy this and capitalists are greedy that. Well, the people that are promoting socialism are the ones with millions of dollars in their bank account. Those are the ones that promote and benefit from socialism the most. The people on the bottom of the rung, of the class system, that would allegedly benefit most from socialism, usually get the bad end of the stick. The reason why is because the more we promote socialism, the more we give to government, the more the government spends, the less our dollar is worth. So if they go and print out another $84 billion like they're doing right now every month for, quantitative easing, QE3 now, that means that the $84 billion that was printed before that is worth half as much. And so, you have less buying power. So when you go to the store to buy a gallon of milk, 5, 8, 10 years ago, you'd buy a gallon of milk for $2. Now I'm paying $5 for a gallon of milk. Same with gas, same with a lot of things. The more they print money, the less it's worth. And that's what socialism does. It burns up resources. We've seen this all over the world. We've seen this in Russia. We've seen this now in Venezuela. In Cuba, for sure. They're turning back to capitalism in Cuba. All of these places that have adopted socialism in some form have had drastic failures in their economy, and they haven't been able to feed their people. It's happening now in our country. We have more debt. We have accumulated $17 trillion in debt. That's more debt than any country has ever seen. And it's no wonder we have people who are starving. Whereas 100 years ago, we had less people than any country in poverty and starving. And that was before socialism, long before socialism, long before the Federal Reserve System, long before the Income Tax Act, long before the government started burning up our money. So maybe someday people like Jared Alloway and Adam Hand and even Vivian McPeak and all these socialists who in a lot of ways I have a lot of respect for because of their tenacity to achieve freedom in their section of whatever they think freedom is, or their, capsule of, what they're working on. Very tenacious, very hardworking activists on one hand, but on the other hand, their economic sense puzzles me. How they can think that socialism is somehow going to save us. I mean, the government's shut down right now. They can't even afford to open up. And when they do open up, it's because they've agreed to borrow more money or print more money and devalue the currency that we have in our system, making it harder for that single mom who has 3 kids to go down and buy a gallon of milk or to fill her tank up of gas, So, I mean, their economic sense infuriates me. And, like recently when Jared Alloway started censoring me when I was talking about this situation, he was talking about how, the military gets away with, being incompetent this and being incompetent that, and they don't go to prison, but people like Richard Fleur goes to prison for having a plant. I mean, that's a statement, but what's the solution, right? And so I offered a solution. I'm like, hey, we keep consenting to this government tyranny by giving them tax money. by throwing money at them, by consenting to socialism and consenting to devaluing our currency and making it harder for people to live. I say, why do we do that? If we want to solve the problem, we need to stop that. We need to stop consenting by giving them money. And, it's one censorship after another. I tried to repost it a couple of times. I'm like, gosh, maybe my computer's broken. What the heck is going on here? After like 6 times he deleted it, I was like, what the heck? And he's like, hey, stick to the topic, marijuana. I'm like, this is the topic. How do you solve the problem? Complaining about the problem is one thing. How do we solve the problem? When nobody's giving solutions, and I step in with a solution that gets censored, yeah, I get a little bit pissed off. And I think, gosh, is this what socialism is about? Is it about force? Is it about, is it about this kind of thing, censorship? I don't get what socialism's about. If this is how they're illustrating socialism, it's not working for me. Anyway, peace out.